Hey everybody, it's Strict9 with Strict9 GP, and welcome back to another episode of my Out of the Park 21 playthrough with the Cubs. So we're in the 2022 season, the beginning of September, just had our roster expansions, and since the last episode, made some trades that I really think helped this team a lot, and we've started playing a whole lot better. And so I'm going to start this episode off just kind of going through the trades that we made, and then we'll look at our record and how we've been playing, and hopefully win a playoff run. So I'm hoping that we can finish it out and make the playoffs. That's the goal, and it's kind of surprising. If you've been following along, my goal with this team was to take over, rebuild. I didn't think you had much of any other really option, but it was going to be tough to stick with some of those high priced players that were coming up for free agency and try to build a winner with this team and Out of the Park 21. So got rid of Baez, got rid of Chris Bryant. There were a few other big contracts out there that I had to get rid of. And so now I think the plan is starting to pay off. But let's go ahead and take a look first off at our transactions and the trades that got us here. So let's look at July. When I ended the episode and first started getting trades going, the first trade that I really made was Zach Short. I was able to get Sonny Gray for him, and Sonny Gray has been, even though he's a 3-star pitcher, he's got a team option after this year, but I may not keep him. Just depends on how he finishes out. I hate to say he's been a bust, but he's kind of been a bust. 2-4 with us, a 5.73 ERA. I'm hoping that he will improve in September and be valuable down the stretch. But that's about the best I can hope for from him. Didn't give up a whole lot for him though, so it's, not a big deal. But then going further, Alzolay was a pitcher who came off. Well, I got to start with Amaya. Amaya was the one who I was talking about trading really throughout the whole season. It was either going to be him or Caratini. Well, Caratini's had a great year. He's an all-star this year at catcher. Even though he's older, I think he still gives you better value than Amaya. And so I traded Amaya away, traded him to Tampa Bay for a 3-star lefty pitcher with great ratings and some, well, he doesn't have any availability. So he might be a free agent this year. Yeah, so he might be gone. He might be somebody that I can re-sign because, honestly, he's had a great run since I picked him up. 7 starts, 4 wins. 0.9 wins above replacement, not too bad. On pace between us and Tampa Bay for 14 wins on the season. But he's got 4 strong pitches, good stamina, good stuff, movement control. This was a really good trade for me. I think, considering I gave away Amaya, I think that was a good move. And pitching is where we've been struggling all year. And then the last trade I made, Alzolay is a guy who was at one time, I'm sure, a big prospect for the Cubs. He never really showed me much, and he got injured and was out for a long time. He came off the DL, and I just thought it was time to move on from him. He's also out of option years. I got some control with him, but I think it was time to move on from him. And so I was able to trade him to the Oakland Athletics for a really good-looking backup outfielder. He can play all 3 positions, is really good at left field, has good ratings and contact and gap and eye and those kind of things. Not a power hitter, but he's got good speed. And since he's come to our team, he's fairly young too. He's never played in the majors. He was looking really good in AAA. But he has been a very good bench player for us, hitting 308, filling in here and there, getting some starts. And the reason he's getting some starts, as I'm going to go over that next, is we started getting some injuries. And you knew about Darvish, I think. He went out for pretty much the rest of the year and into next year. Rojas, free agent shortstop we signed last offseason, he went out, so he's going to be out for most of the rest of the year. But if we do make a playoff run, he should be hopefully back in time for the playoffs. But we lost Ian Happ, who, for whatever reason, the last 2 seasons have not been good for him. His average is low. He's striking out a whole lot. I mean, that's what he's going to give you anyway. But production-wise, hasn't been too great overall. But then he started hitting, and as luck would have it, he had a good July, was looking good in August, and then all of a sudden he gets a pretty big injury. So he's going to be gone, I would say, the whole month of September, because even when he comes off, he's probably not going to be available. And so that made that Barrera pickup even better. But, Happ was on the roster when I picked up Barrera, so didn't foresee that coming, but that's sometimes you get lucky. But I still needed to, when Happ went down, I still needed to kind of fill in that roster, and I took a look at the free agents, and Corey Dickerson was still available. And this is a guy who gives you a pretty good offense. Again, contact and gap and avoiding Ks are really good. He's a decent left fielder. Unfortunately, he's not rated at any other outfield position, but I felt like he can start at left for primarily the rest of the season against right-handed pitchers, and maybe even really get some time against lefties. But against righties, the guy's rated really high. It was just one of those pickups since he was still out there. I'm not even sure why he was still out there, but since he was still out there, I was able to get him, I think, at one of those minor league minimum type salaries where he gets paid this much if he makes the majors, and I called him up right away. So I'm hoping that that's going to get us through until we get to the hopefully playoffs. I don't want to jinx this, but another positive is finally Inciarte has come off the DL, and he's going to be the starting center fielder when he does. Right now I'm still going with Hazley primarily, and Hazley has been adequate for sure, and I may still move him to left. I probably will move him to left, honestly, even over Dickerson when Inciarte gets back. But I want Inciarte to get quite a bit of time in the minors on a rehab, because he's been gone a long time this season before I call him up. I don't want to rush him. But that's where we're at, and I think if you look at the standings, we are in decent shape for the playoffs. Excuse me, but there's no guarantees. But I think, at least for the wild card, if we can, if we don't get to win the division outright, I think we've still got a good chance at the wild card, hopefully. But at record 79-61, we're also, I think, going to finish above 500, so that's a good thing too. You can see the rest of the league. Atlanta still playing well. Dodgers they may set the record for wins this season, 102-39. Just incredible run they're on. There's some close races in the American League. Tampa Bay, Toronto tied in the East, and then Angels and Astros just one game separating them. Individual performers in terms of that, Alvarez, this guy's a monster in this playthrough. Him and Bellinger have been putting up incredible numbers in both this playthrough and the one I've got going with the Phillies. I think, for instance, Alvarez in that playthrough is almost to 600 home runs. Bellinger is way past 600 home runs, and really, unless he gets injured, is probably going to set the all-time home run record in that playthrough. But Vladimir Guerrero Jr., another guy who's just playing really well, may have a good chance to get his first MVP this season if he keeps going. Justin Dunn, good-looking young pitcher for Seattle. He might have a good chance at the Cy Young this year. He's doing really well. Garrett Cole, leading the league, no surprise in strikeouts again. This would be his 4th year in a row if he finishes up with the lead. On the National League side, in terms of individual leaders, you take out Syndergaard, we don't have anybody showing up, and that's just the way we play. If I'm taking a look at our team stats, it's pretty balanced now since we made those moves. Our pitching is starting to really come into line with the big trades that we made. Even, I guess, Sonny Gray hasn't hurt us that much, but I like the balance here, and we've just had a really good August, and I'm hoping that we play like that in September, because I think that would be enough to clinch the playoffs, if the wild card anyway. And then individually we'll look at this, and then we'll get going. First off, I'm really surprised at Caratini. He's a 3.5 star player. He's got good defense. He could even play first. So if something happens to him, he might be a good replacement at first. But he's developed some power the second half of the season. He's about to get to a 5+ wins above replacement season if he keeps it up. So that's really good. Rizzo, he is what he is, I guess you would say. I still think he's got the production. He's definitely got the personality. He leads this team. He's got pretty good defense at first. Considering, I've said it several times, considering who I had to lose and keep of this team, I still like that I kept him. I know Brian is still having some decent seasons, maybe with Philadelphia, but I'm still happy with keeping Rizzo. Horner's had a good year. Segura, I don't know what to think about him. He's been productive, but he's going to have a big team option next season. Depends on how far we get into the playoffs. He may be somebody who gets let go. And Brendan Davis still, I know, I think one of the viewers commented on how, there were some, I think it was the BABIP numbers on him that were a little scary, but I don't know how to read that BABIP sometimes. Do you need 400 or above? Does that signify a good player? I'm not sure, but I still feel like he has been a really decent contributor this season. 2.6 wins above replacement. He's just 22 years old. 3 stars right now with some room to develop. So I'm liking what he's doing. And I do like Hazley as well, guy I picked up last season from Philadelphia. He has really helped me out with these injuries. And I know I talked up Dickerson there and left, but it's going to be hard, really, I think, to replace him when I bring Inciarte in. Now, if I look at the pitching, bullpen has been decent pretty much all season. Austin Adams was struggling first half of the season. He's gotten in line and been one of the better closers, I think, in the second half of the season. He had a great June, great July. August, he slipped a little bit, but overall, he's turned it around. Justin Wilson looking great. Ibarra looking great. In the starters, Syndergaard's already at 17 wins. I put a lot of money into this guy, but I think that was the right move to get this team forward. Honeywell Jr.'s had some good starts, and then Banda. I just think that trade has probably, even though it's just 4 wins, it just means so much to have a good, dependable starter you can go to every 4 or 5 games, and I think that has probably been the biggest move positive to this team so far. Corey Abbott, I put him back into the rotation. He's doing pretty good. I moved Hendricks out. His ratings are done, really. I don't think he's going to make it. Certainly not going to make it into the starting rotation, and I don't really know if I need to think about releasing him. It's going to be going to have to see what happens. I've got to, just to mention this, I'm playing under these new rules with the expansions, roster expansions. It goes to 28 instead of, 35, or I forget the old rule, or 30. But I'm holding a couple of these open so that I can bring back Inciarte when he's off. And I think there was, Ian Happ maybe, but Rojas, I need to have space for him too when he comes off. I guess Ademan will go down, so that wouldn't be a big deal. But I'm hesitant to bring up any pitchers right now because we were struggling so bad, and I don't want to jinx this team. I know Miller has played well in limited call-ups before. He might be someone who I should call up. Patterson, I'm taking the advice of a viewer on him too. He has some good upside, but he just doesn't show it when he comes into the majors. And you see what he's done this year, 6+ ERA. I'm not gonna chance him this year. Short, same deal. He hasn't looked good when I've called him up this year, and he hasn't really looked good in AAA. The only one that I would think about calling up would be Miller, and maybe I'll give it another week and see if I need him. But let's go ahead and get started. We got one game against Milwaukee to finish out that series. And then we'll move on to Houston. Is it doing it? Oh, I clicked it. And a big win again, a 2-0 shutout. This was Syndergaard's. Clement, another guy I didn't really mention too much, but I love this guy off the bench. I think this is the ideal bench player if you're an out of the park 21, in my opinion. You got a guy with good contact, avoiding Ks, those kind of things. So he's going to be a good pinch hitter. He hits well against righties and lefties. He's got good speed. He can play multiple positions, but he plays two positions well enough that he could start if you had to. And I just love what he brings you. And so he really won this game with a home run, one of his few home runs of the year. He got to start at shortstop. Syndergaard did not get the win, and oh my gosh, he's injured. That'll kill you. I mean, that'll ruin a good season. I'm hoping that's just maybe a day-to-day injury. And another shutout, and he's gone. Man, that is so frustrating. So Syndergaard's going to be gone for the rest of the year. A man who has not had a significant injury in his whole entire Major League Baseball career. And now he's gone for 4 months when we're in a playoff run. Oh man, that's the part of the game that you can't really do much about. I know it is what it is, but that happens so much when I'm playing this game. I can't even tell you. So Banda, though, another good game. Again, had I not picked this guy up, there would have been no way we would have. I doubt if we would have even been. I know it's just 5-1 wins, but that's huge right now, and it's even more huge considering where we are. So let's take a look at some news here. Bellinger, he's injured for maybe a week or so. I can't believe that. So now what do? I think I have to bring up Miller for sure. Is Miller good enough to start? Oh, boy. I mean, who would you start at this point? I don't think I've tried Rasmussen, and I don't want to put Hendricks back in there because he is just really, his stuff and movement is gone. So I think I'll gamble on Tyson Miller. He looked good in AAA. Relatively good in AAA. We'll just see what he does. I mean, that's really taking the wind out a little bit. It's game 2 against Washington. 6-5 in extra innings. Great win there. Brendan Davis, 4 RBIs. Horner, 3 hits. Caratini, 3 hits. Abbott pitched a good game. Wilson, one of his worst outings, but Adams hung in there. The bullpen in general hung in there to give us the win. And now game 3 against Washington. We're already at 82 wins. Another big win, 7-1. Segura, Rizzo, Caratini, Hazley, some good offensive production here. And Gray, another good start from him. 5 2/3, just 1 run. He needs to pick it up. I mean, if he doesn't play well, we're done, I think, in terms of the playoffs. Well, in terms of winning that division. Players of the week, Austin Hayes and Willie Castro. And then rankings, we're all the way up to 2nd. That's how well we've been playing. 2-game lead, 10. We've won 10 in a row. that's what's so scary about it, because you can't. There's no way you can keep that going, and St. Louis is just 2 games back. Um, whew, I'm really nervous about this. So let's go ahead and see how Inciarte is doing in his. Yeah, he's looking pretty good, but let me give him at least one more game here. We're off, and let's see. So that's 6 games. He has looked phenomenal. I'm going to go ahead and bring him up, and I'm going to do this with the lineup. So need to look at the batting stats here. How's Dickerson look? Not too bad, but I'm going to put Hazley over there, and I'm going to put Inciarte at center. And how does he look against? Yeah, he looks pretty good against righties. And then I'm gonna let Barrera back up. What should I do? Let's say every 8th game, and then I'm gonna have Corey Dickerson, the backup in left field. Let's say every 6 games, simply because Hazley is just playing so well right now. Don't want to mess it up. And then I'll move Barrera over here as backup against lefties. The question here is, do I want, I think Brennan Davis, even though he's been okay in that second spot, if I look at the splits on him, batting second, batting ninth, he's primarily batted second all year. I didn't know I had him up there so long, but I'm going to move him down and let Inciarte go second. And then Brennan Davis, let's see, is he a little bit better than... I like his power, so I'll about him in that 5th spot above Caratini. And then Corey Dickerson is going to get some chance there to... He's not very speedy. All right, now against lefties, again, Inciarte, even though he's a lefty. Is Hazley a better... Dickerson against lefties, man... I think I'm going to still put Hazley at left, Inciarte in for at center, and I'm going to let I think I'm going to move it like this: Caratini to the 5th spot, and then have Brennan Davis bat in second against lefties, and then I'll have Corey Dickerson getting some starts against lefties like every 5th game, say. And then we'll have Barrera, who bats really well against lefties. I'll have him getting some time there at center. And then Corey Dickerson, we'll have him pinch hitting. And then against, now this is where it'll look pretty good, I think, because we can have Inciarte at center, Hazley at left, and then Barrera is going to get some... He's just going to be the backup here. I don't know how much American League play we're going to see, but once again, Inciarte, should I lead him off? And we'll see how this works. And then Barrera is going to be top pinch hitter, and he's got some decent speed, so I want him running in place of Hayward. I'm just not even really playing Hayward at all at this point. So now one more change here, and that's going to be Inciarte at center, and then Barrera is going to be the primary outfield backup, and backing up Dickerson at DL. And so I like the way that looks right now. Barrera is going to be pitch hitting and running. All right, so this may be, until we get, I guess, Rojas off, this may be the lineup that we have. We're going to be against Cleveland for a couple games on the road, though, and we lose. So that was the first loss after that 10-game winning streak. Inciarte hitless in his first game back. Rizzo a couple hits. Caratini may have had another home run. He did. And Tyson Miller not too good in his first start for us. Hendricks, 2 runs for him and 2 1/3. So now we got Cleveland again, 7-3, good bounce back win. Inciarte 3 for 5. Brennan Davis a couple hits. He may have had, he did have a home run. And then pitching wise, this went to Honeywell, his 11th win. Good job from him. And now I think we're going to be playing the Yankees next. Is this true? Let me double check. It is the Mets. Sorry, the Mets are they're playing for a wild card. They're going to be a tough one, I think. Game 1, 5-3. We really need to win this series because we got St. Louis on the road next. Hazley and Caratini home runs in this game. Banda 7 1/3, just 1 earned run. I wonder if this guy is, if he is a. Yeah, I mean, he's got another year. So, for some reason, it doesn't say what his contract. Oh, I'm sorry. That's right. Why am I not looking at that? Another thing I liked about Banda, he has great control. He's signed through the 25 season at very low numbers. I mean, if this guy performs like this, I mean, he's an absolute steal at this point. All right, so game 2 against New York. 11-5, big offensive game here. Horner, Davis, Inciarte batting lower in the lineup. He had 2 hits. Sonny Gray got the win, but 5 runs in 6 innings. Still not sold on him for next season. And then game 3 against New York, another win. We sweep him 10-5. Segura 3 RBIs in this one. Rizzo may have had a home run from the looks of it. Barrera came in to start, hit 3 hits. So pitching, Abbott, another poor outing from him, but that bullpen, even with Hendricks in there, we gave up only 1 run in 5 innings. So now, taking a look at the news, we're probably going to see a lot of teams starting to dip out of the playoffs. It looks like Henderson was hurt in that series with us for the Mets, gone for the year. So now we got St. Louis coming up, and let's take a look at Players of the Week. We got Juan Soto. He has not made it to MVP yet. He's having a good year this year. It could be this year that he does that. But weekly team power rankings, of course, the Dodgers, they're first with that record. But we're right below them at second. And the Cardinals just flipped all the way to 12. So I'm hoping that means that they're losing ground. Oh, my gosh, they are. So they've lost 3 in a row. We've won 4 in a row. We need to have a good week, and it's going to be on the road. 4 against St. Louis, 3 against Milwaukee. If we split the St. Louis series, I'd be really happy because then we come out of here with a 5-game lead against them. We win the first one 3-1. Tyson Miller injured, not a big injury, but if he got the start here, he gave us hopefully some good innings. He went out early, but. Rizzo, the offensive hero here, 2 RBIs on another home run from him. Adams, his 31st save. Good bullpen performance again. And then game 2, come on, guys. If we win this one, it's huge. We lose it 3-4. Tough loss. Segura, a couple hits. 2 RBIs from Rizzo. He's going to get above 300 RBI or 100 RBIs again. Clement 2 for 3, getting the start there at shortstop. Honeywell pitched well, but bullpen blew it late. And now game 3 against St. Louis, another loss, and we're losing one of our bigger bullpen guys here, even though he's not doing too well. And then Rizzo, a minimal injury for 4 days. Let me see how we looked in this game. See, Inciarte a couple hits. Banda, another good start, but the bullpen, Wilson and Ibarra. I mean, I'm struggling here what to do with Nishioka. It influences throwing, and he's, I would be afraid that he's not going to give us what we need from him if I throw him out there too much. So putting him on the injured list for 15 days should still make him available, I think, in the playoffs. But I just don't see any way to pitch him right now. I don't want to bring up either of those guys. So I'm just going to go with the limited staff at this point. And we got just a couple of setup guys. Maybe we could have Elledge setting up if we need it. Yeah, and let's just see if we can get through this. So we're down 2-1 in the series. Let's see if we can salvage a win in the game, and we don't. So they do what they needed to do. They beat us 6-5 in this one. Gray, another bad outing, and Davis 4 hits, but that was about the best we got offensively. Dickerson had a pinch hit home run. Whew, so now we're in a tough spot. St. Louis had kind of an injury there, but not a big one. So Atlanta we're 3 games above them right now, and we've got them at home next week. I would love to have a good series against Milwaukee. First game, 10-2. That puts us 4 games up. Segura, good game. How about Brendan Davis? 6 RBIs in this one. Inciarte, a couple hits. He's hitting over 300 for the year. Abbott, good game from him. Hendricks, not good in relief. Game 2, it's taking its time. Oh man, that was a close one, 8-7. Hazley, good game from him in the leadoff spot. Segura, Rizzo, a couple hits from them, and then pitching wise, Tyson Miller got the win, but he gave it 5 runs in 6, and then Adams 32nd save, but boy, he was rough. He hasn't had a good September for what it's worth. And now 3rd game against Milwaukee, we've already won the series. A sweep would be nice here. And we lose it 2-0. So overall, pretty decent series. Good game here from Honeywell, but we just couldn't get the offense going. So back to the news. It looks like we had a injury news here on Ian Happ, so it's going to be 3 months for him. And I got to say at this point, I don't think I'm going to miss him at left. I know he's got the power, pretty decent contact, but I feel like if I can, well, I don't know if I can, but I think I should be able to keep Dickerson if we go into the and the Cubs. We secure the wild card, so we're in the playoffs. So we're going to be in the playoffs. And I was just going to say, I think Dickerson will be eligible for the playoff roster. Players of the week, Tatis and Lindor, and power rankings, we moved down a little bit to 7th, and that was mainly for that St. Louis series, but we still won 6-10. Magic number to 3, and it's really going to happen this week if we can. We got 6 games left, and I think Rojas is about to come off too. I'm going to bring him up. Segura, is he injured? Just for 1 week minimal. I know he's coming straight out off the IL, but he's not going to be able to get any time in the minors on a rehab. So I'm putting Rojas in here right away. And against righties, I'll have, well, it doesn't matter at this point. He's going to have to be the starter these last 6 games, I think. And he's going to start for Clement. And then same deal here. And then same deal here. Well, I don't know why I'm messing with this. We're not going to have a game against DH the rest of the season until we get to the potential World Series. But that means I can move Clement up here for a couple of these guys. Get his bat in the lineup as a pinch hitter and really as a runner too. Replace Hayward there. All right, so here we go. Big series, 3 games at home. I think we win 2 of these, we'll probably win the division if I'm not mistaken. But let's keep it going. Game 1, 5-4. That's a huge one. So 1-run games have been pretty kind to us this year too. It seems like 4 hits in Segura in this one. He might be starting to play for his job next year. Banda, 8 innings wasn't necessarily strong, but I'm telling you, I love this pickup. This was just these are the kind of trades I really love in this game. Now, game 2 against St. Louis, 5-8. They are just not going to go away. Rizzo, he's now over 100 RBIs, by the way. He had a couple hits. Gray had a good outing, but 12 strikeouts in 7 innings. But the bullpen, man, Ibarra and Wilson really blew it for us. I keep going back up. St. Louis is going to make it. They're in the they've got the wild card at least. And was that just a 2-game series? It was. So it's going to be 4 games now against Cincinnati, and we're 3.5 up. We win this game and we're clinched the division. And there you go. So it took us 3 seasons, but we turned it around, and here we are winning the division for the first time. Great game offensively. Inciarte has looked pretty decent since he came off the DL, but he's hurt again. He's just a 1-year signing. With that injury proneness now, I'm probably not going to invest too much in him for next year, but this was a good season, or a good game for the offense, especially 1-5. And even Abbott had a home run in this game. He picked up his 8th win. Still not 100% sure about this rotation going into the playoffs, but the Syndergaard is just going to really, I think, keep us from getting too deep into it. But did what we could. And Caratini, another good game from him. I still say Amaya had the years, I know that, but this guy has been a better performer for sure. And hey, Tyson Miller, good start from him, even though he didn't get the win. Game 3 against Cincinnati, big blowout, 11-0. I guess we're giving it up right now, and I probably should watch out for the injuries. I realize that. Rojas, Inciarte, hopefully nobody's injured after that one. And so last game of the year, we're 92-69. Can we keep from 70 losses? That'd be nice. And we do. 6-3. So we finished with 93 wins. A good season. Rizzo finished strong here. 3-3. Segura finished strong. Caratini, again, home run in this game. Really good offensive numbers. 5.9 wins above replacement. Outstanding season from him. Banda, another win. 8 wins since we picked him up in trade. He finishes the year with 16. So he had 8 for us, 8 for Tampa Bay, but he looked a lot better for us than he did for Tampa Bay. Wilson got the save here. Elledge, good job there in relief. So take a look at the news. Segura, 20-game hitting streak. Wow, that was a good way for him to end it. Like I say, he's playing for that job next year. So any big news? No, and power rankings, we finished 5th. Not too bad. St. Louis, 13th. All right, so here's what it looks like for the standings. In the American League, you got Tampa Bay, Boston. They're going to play for have a playoff game. We'll go ahead and get that out right now. Let's see how. All right, so we're going to the playoffs first time with this team. And Cleveland loses Carrasco. He's slipping though. Tampa Bay is going to be in there. And let's take a look at standings and players, and then get ready for the playoffs. So Tampa Bay squeaks by Boston, and unfortunately, even though Toronto finished just a game back of these guys, they're not going to make the playoffs. Cleveland won in the Central. Angels wound up winning over Astros in the West. And then individually, Devers had a great year, but he's injured and going to be gone for Boston in the playoffs. Alvarez finishes with 53 home runs. 6.4 wins above replacement. He might not get the MVP. That could easily go to Lindor with the kind of numbers he's having. He's really looking good in this playthrough. 8+ wins above replacement 3 years in a row. Pitching wise, what do we got here? Loizaga, Tyler Glasnow, Puck, good years for them. Garrett Cole finishes with 276 strikeouts. He's got a minimal injury going on. And then McCullers had a good year for Houston. And then in the National League, you got Atlanta, New York, make it from the East. Chicago, St. Louis make it from the Central. And then Los Angeles, 115 wins. I think that winds up one less than Seattle's record, if I'm not mistaken. You can let me know in the comments. I think that Seattle team in the early 2000s or late 90s finished with 116 wins. But we will probably be opening up. Is this how it's going to go? We're going to be playing Atlanta in that opening round. That's going to be a tough matchup. Do they have any injuries they're dealing with? Ian Anderson, not a big one. They've got a great rotation led by Soroka. They've got an incredible closer here. Probably best reliever in the game from those numbers. And they've got Bryce Wilson. This guy could come in and start. They're definitely deeper at pitching and offense. What can you say? Pash is a great defensive center fielder. He's good offensively now. Albies, Acuna, Freeman, Austin Riley. We're going to have a hard time. We're going to have a hard time against them, but I'm just happy we made it to the playoffs. Looking back at individual numbers, how about Caratini finishes top 3 in batting? So outside of Syndergaard, he's going to be the only leader, I would think. Yeah, the only individual leader we have. Arenado, a great year for Colorado. He may be in the running for his first MVP. Soto, though, he had a good, Bellinger. Acuna, 9.3 wins above replacement. This might be his year to win the MVP. Bellinger's won it 3 times, 2 in this playthrough. He was injured a little bit this year and kind of off his pace. Just 40 home runs. Not showing as much power in this playthrough as the Phillies one. And then for pitching, we got Soroka and Syndergaard. Gosh, I really wish we... And on top of that, I hope this doesn't impact his long-term injury proneness. I mean, something like this happens and it could ruin a guy for forever, for the rest of his career. He finished still second in wins. Brendan McKay, who's now with Arizona, he led the league in strikeouts. And then Will Smith, 43 saves. So next episode, I'll go through the playoffs. I'll get the rosters ready. I want to check real quick before I leave, just to make sure if Dickerson is able to make it. Looks like he is. So we've got a couple spots. Rizzo, what's he doing out of there? So he's going to be in. Inciarte is going to be in place of Ademan right away. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 pitchers. Injured list. Nishioka's 4 days away. I hope he's ready by that first game, but I don't think he will be. So we'll probably have to, if we make it past the first series, we'll have to probably do it without him. But I'll tinker with that offline. And then next episode, I will go through the playoffs and hopefully get this team further along and maybe even all the way. That would be the end goal for this. But I think it would happen a little bit sooner than I was expecting. But all in all, great year from us. And I appreciate you guys watching and the support of the channel. And I will see you next episode.